everyone, and welcome to the Commando cast. I'm Andrew, and I want us to do a real quick hit on the droids. So I don't know, I have no idea actually what's going to win Gen Con this weekend, but what I do know is that the droids are going to be everywhere. They are way too consistent, they're way too flexible, and they are way too good to not just be in the top hands of most of the good players out there. I'm sure there will be people coming with stuff that they think can beat it. I'm not saying droids are the best thing out there, but they're going to be everywhere because they are such a utility. So we were talking last night after Monday Night Dice, me and several of the guys, on why droids are so good, aside from just the fact that, you can roll them in, they can flip. And what it really boils down to for me is the Fateful Companions plot, right? I still think that the Fateful Companions plot is the best 2 points you can spend in Destiny. And I think that Fateful Companions might actually be broken. Right. So, and I don't mean broken in terms of what it does, but I think it is unfairly costed. I think there's way too much value in Faithful Companions for what it does. So let's just put it in perspective with Profitable Connection. All right. So Profitable Connection is basically one of our basic plots that we've ever seen, or that we first saw. And what it does is for 3 points, it lets you start your first turn with $1, right? So it gives you one value. Now that extra dollar first turn is actually way better in value over the course of the game. So it's not just one value. But I want to put this in perspective with now Fateful Companions, right? So Profitable Connection is $3 for 1 money first turn. Fateful Companions, if you can spot R2 and C3PO, is worth that $1 because you can guarantee to flip in $1 and then you can resolve a die for the plus. So you can guarantee to get an extra $1. Yes, you have to resolve a die to get there. And yes, you have to be playing R2 and C3PO. But again, this plot, at a very minimum on the first turn, gets you the $1 for Profitable Connection, and it only costs 2. And the thing is, you probably are going to be able to use it the next turn. And then after that, even if you lose one of your guys, you can still pay into it to then get additional value. So what you're doing then is using the plot to convert value, convert money into damage or whatever you need. And that's pretty good, right? 2 points repeatable compared to the 3 for one time only resource. I think that's what leads me to this, that I think we really need Fateful Companions to be Balance of the Force for +1. I think it needs to be a 3-cost plot. The other thing this does is it takes away Droid's ability to run a 5-die start deck with the plot, right? Now, yes, you could still run Jawa or whatever, but it takes away the Anakins, it takes away the Satines, and it takes away the ability to just come out swinging super hard, super fast with a ramp deck that lets you have repeatable value out of a 2-point plot, right? So I think if we balance it to 3, then you're looking at playing probably a 4-die. This still gives plenty of flexible options for who that 4th die can be, that 4th character. You're looking at 8 pointers potentially, right? Because let's say you're looking at an elite, one of the droids elite, let's say C3PO, because he's 10 elite. We'll get to that in a second. But let's say he's 10 elite. You're then running R2 at 8, and then the plot at 3. You're only at 19 points. You can still run an 11-point character somewhere, right? And that's, we can run, we saw Cassian, we saw Jin, we saw all sorts of stuff being done. Rey. We've seen all sorts of options, but it takes away the Han pairing. It takes away the 5-die Satine pairing. And it really just kind of starts to dumb down the outward first turn power and second turn power and just pure ramp power that we're seeing. The next thing I want to talk about is I want to harken back to those of us who remember the Pomaz days. Pomaz was a very hated deck because you could just roll out, consistently get what you wanted, and the deck was really, the complaint that most people used back then was that Pomaz was an autoplay. And yes, there was a difference between a bad Pomaz player and a good Pomaz player, but it was still Pomaz and it was still doing Pomaz things. So let's flash up Maz, right, and look at her, right? So after you activate this character, you may resolve up to 2 of your dice. Very strong, but what was really strong about Maz was the fact that you had somewhere in it was like a mid-80% chance of getting what you wanted, of getting the special on Poe because of her focus. Now if we look at 3PO, 3PO basically does the same thing as Maz. You don't get the automatic 2 dice, but with Fateful Companions, you can, and you can actually then resolve them at +1 if you're spotting R2, right? So, and Maz was 11 points elite, R2 is 10 points elite. So again, Maz it's not a quite 1-to-1, but they're very, very similar in what they do. And I think that C3PO is actually causing people heart palpitations because of how similar it is to Maz and how you can just kind of roll and get everything you need in resolve. right? I mean, it's pretty strong. So I'm not completely sold on this proposal that I'm showing right now, but, and I'm sure that people will flip out about this one because of how confusing it is. I'm not saying Fantasy Flight would ever do this, but what I would really like to see on C-3PO is a balance of the Force for a +0, +1, meaning to run him at elite would cost him an extra point. So he'd be 11 elite. This not only puts him on par with the other two droids that we've seen, R2 and Chopper, and maybe he's costed less because he doesn't have damage. I don't know what the reasoning for that was. It does seem that he probably should have been an 8-11, and that's what I want, right? If we can keep him at 8, you can still run a 5-die droid with some version of Elite R2, Chopper, and C-3PO at 30, not running Faithful Companions, or you can run Faithful Companions at 3, my proposed 3, with him at 8, and you still have plenty of other options out there that you can do as long as you're running with him with 8 points. So I don't think it cripples the droids at all. I still think the droids remain very good. They can still do what they want to do, which is get you the consistency and get you exactly what you want on the first couple turns before one of them goes down. I don't think it takes them away at all, and I think it just throttles them back just a little bit such that you can't, I mean, with 3PO, you can roll him in, you can resolve one of his own focus at a +1, and then Faithful Companions to whatever you just focus to, right? It's great. It's Maz all over again, right? And I think we just need to steer away from that. So again, I don't know that droids are the end all of everything, but right now droids are feeling a little oppressive in just how autoplay they are and how really easy they are to just get in what you want. I really like the droid design. I really do. I like R2 and 3PO not just working together thematically, but how flexible they are, how many options they present. So I do not hate the droids. I actually like the droids, but I think that they are a little too good. There's a little too much value present. So I do think for certain we need to see a 3 or a balance of the Force to go to 3. And C-3PO, I don't know, maybe C-3PO we should think about the elite thing. I don't think he needs a +1 balance of the Force because him at 9 feels really bad. But him at elite at 10 also feels really bad. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. That's all I have for today. Go Commando.